elegance, class, timeless beauty, and iconic. It's a shape that I've always really wanted. The tortue obviously means turtle. Cartier then brought out the tank mask, and they released actually a lot of models in these different colours. So this is more of a throwback to what was.
Yeah.
What I like about this one is it's obviously you don't see these very often. They were quite hard to get, and I think they were a lot more popular than Cartier thought they would be last year.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to a special edition of the Tea Room. Let me introduce the panel, please. On my left, we have Palm. Good evening, Palm.
Good evening, Tickers. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing?
Good. And below me, we have Andy.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Okay, great. So it's my pleasure to introduce Cartier Watch Nerd, which is AKA Nick. So thank you for joining us today. And if you could just Nick. Briefly introduce yourself to our audience. Yeah.
Hi, Tickers, Palm and Andy. Thanks for having me on the show. So my name is Nick, also known as a Cartier Watch Nerd. I am currently based in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And as you can tell by my name, I'm a huge Cartier watch fan. And I've been... Well, to be honest, I'll tell you a bit more about my journey. So I've always been interested in watches from a young age. I think my grandfather used to have a big collection of Seiko, Casio, and so from a young age, I was always fascinated by the whole mechanical movements and everything behind it. And like many, I first got into dive watches. So I've had my fair share of Rolex and Omega. I had some JLC, Tag. And then about 3 years ago, I bought my first Cartier tank, and then my eyes were opened and everything sort of changed. I think for me, it was, look, I've got a pretty small wrist, 6.75 inch. And to be honest, looking back at the watches I used to wear, they wore quite large. And I put on the Cartier tank, and it's just like something hit me. It was like perfect. It fit well. It had class. It was a watch I could wear casually. I could wear it going out at night, where it was suit. It fit under my my cuff really easy. And from that moment, I was hooked. And to be honest, I went all into Cartier. So pretty much my whole collection now is Cartier, except for one or two beta watches that I might wear out and about or when I'm going to the beach.
Wow.
So I've well and truly fell down the Cartier rabbit hole.
Excellent. Now we'll have a look at your collection in a bit. But can you just tell us how many Cartiers you actually have in your collection then?
So I've got eight at the moment, and that's I'm only quite new into the Cartier journey. So there's a few more that I've got on order at the moment, and there's a few grails that I'd like to tick off. Like I said, it's a rabbit hole is huge. Cartier is known as the master of shapes, and from what you guys probably see regularly, it's just like you got the rectangle, you got the square, but there's so much more to Cartier. There's so many different shapes that have been around for many years, but not many people know of them. And what I'm trying to do is trying to build a collection of different shapes and have that real unique sort of collection. What I like about Cartier the most is not many people wear them. Like, they're not the hype watches.
No.
Rolex, and everywhere you look, someone's wearing a Submariner. Even APs, Royal Oaks, you see them everywhere. Whereas Cartier, I think they haven't really had that huge big hype. Yes, like the Cartier tanks or the Santos are starting to get a bit more, but you don't see that many out there. You don't see some of those unique shapes like the cloche, the cintre. They're not that common, especially where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. They're conversation starters. Like, you're out and about, and all of a sudden someone's looking at your watch, asking questions, and they've never seen this sort of shape before. And I like how it just creates that sort of conversation. I've met some wonderful people just by wearing watches and having them come up to me and ask questions.
So that's really cool.
That's good. Good way to make friends.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. Well, to be honest, I have to admit, like the watch collecting journey, like you meet some amazing people. And a lot of the people I've met are very humble. They've got amazing collections, and you can approach them. And I've met people all around the world. Obviously, you guys as well now, but I've made friends in most different countries, and I've traveled across the world and met different people, and mate, it's been an amazing journey. And I think my journey has just got even better with Cartier, to be honest. Like, there's a different sort of collector, and you meet some passionate people. I've met a few people here in Asia, even here in Malaysia and Singapore, and we can just talk for ages. There's always something new to learn as well. Like, I'm not even yet a full expert.
It's really cool. You must be friends with George Kramer, right? George Kramer, Ronnie M. I must admire their collections, at least. Yeah.
I'm inspired by their collection. So, like Ronnie and George. So, look, I've never met them face to face, but obviously, yes, we communicate over over Instagram. Mate, their collections are crazy. I hope one day I have a collection like them.
Yeah, so, they're kind of a benchmark, right?
Like an endless collection.
Endless. I don't even know how they keep track.
What I like about it as well, that you see some of their photos, like you're going, I didn't even know that watch existed. Like, I've learned so much just by viewing their Instagram. Yeah, it's that the back catalogue of Cartier watches is massive, and it's been over a century old. So you can imagine there's so many different unique shapes, different watches, limited editions. There's so much, and because it's so old, there's not a lot of publication. It's quite hard to find a lot of information about a lot of the vintage pieces. So learning from people like George or Ronnie or some of the other serious collectors out there is sometimes the only way.
Where do you source your pieces? Did you just have one particular source for your vintage ones, or do you shop around everywhere?
So to be honest, at the moment, I've mostly got modern, which I obviously buy, I'd say, exclusively from the boutique. I've got a really good relationship, and I like the sort of service that they provide. It's a good experience going in there and looking at different pieces, learning more about the brand and also the history. And then I've only just purchased my first vintage. This is the Tortu CPCP.
Beautiful. Tortu is amazing.
You're not playing, are you?
Really not messing around.
You're not messing around.
Wow. It's one of my new favorite pieces. So I just picked it up. I was actually in Boston recently. So I went to a shop, the European Watch Company, and mate, it was sitting there, and I couldn't resist. I went away and thought about it for a few hours and went straight back there to make the purchase. Mate, it's one of my favorites. It's a shape that I've always really wanted. The Tortu obviously means turtle, and as you can see by the shape, it looks a bit like a turtle.
I'll just make you full screen so we can.
Oh, that is really nice. Wow. What year is that? What year is that, Nick?
I don't have the papers, but I'd say it'd be early 2000s. So the CPCP collection went from 1998 to 2008. Right. So it was a 10-year period. So I'm guessing it was around the early 2000s. Unfortunately, the papers weren't filled in, so I don't really know exactly when it was purchased. But it's got the 430 MC movement. There's an open case back as well. But what I like about it is the guilloche dial. It's a bit hard to see on the camera, but you got the guilloche dial, the Breguet hands, and then the famous Cartier Paris.
What size is that? It looks quite large. It's not large, but it looks a really good size.
It is the large. So there's a few different sizes. This is the large. I'd say it's about 35 millimeters, and then the lug to lug is about 47, 48.
Oh, okay. It's good length on it then.
So it fits quite well.
Yeah.
So to be honest, this is my first vintage, and it's actually got me thinking about other CP pieces, like the mono pusher, which I think you guys mentioned in your previous video. That's one of my favorites. Just the price has just gone crazy. That's the problem. So Cartier's now starting to get, I wouldn't say it's huge hype as maybe some of the other watches, but a lot more people are starting to recognize Cartier, especially the CPCP collection.
Yeah.
If you look at the prices, they're gone crazy, and they're getting really hard to find now as well, which I really like. So we've got a little community here in Malaysia, which myself and a few others have started, and there's a lot more people now getting into Cartier. They're looking at more of the moderns, but obviously now also looking into the vintage. And look, you can still find some really good vintage pieces. CPCP, you better get in quick, because I think, as you mentioned, that monopusher price went up crazily, I think, in a year.
It's a Daytona of Cartier.
Yeah,
it pretty much is. Yep. So
Nick, can I go back to the tank? Because my favorite is the tank.
Yeah.
I've yet to get a Cartier. I've always wanted to get one, and and it's always been the tank that's drawn me in. And when you said you started off with a tank, would you say that was like basically a gateway drug to Cartier? And what was it about the tank that made you suddenly expand into that world?
No worries. It was definitely a gateway. This is my first one.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you on full screen, and we'll there we go. So for the rest of the interview, we'll do like that.
Yeah, perfect.
So this is a tank solo, which is now discontinued. It's a little bit bigger than most of the previous tanks. A bit more manual. It's got like sort of the flat sort of surfaces there. So what I like about the tank is there's a lot of history. So obviously the tank was sort of designed back in the early 1900s, about 1917. And it was inspired by, you guys probably know the story, by a Renault tank. I think it was the FT17. I love that. I love that whole story. I went and researched a bit more. If you look at some of the pictures of the tank, you can actually see where that inspiration came from. What I like about the tank is there's so many different variations, but they still stay true to their design language. It's an iconic watch. When you see it on someone's wrist, you know that's a Cartier. I know it wasn't their first watch that they designed. Obviously, the Santos came first, but this one, I think, it's taken over. It's so iconic now. You just have to look at pop culture. So many different sort of celebrities, influencers, sports people. They all got some sort of tank. And that's what drawn me to it. It's a watch, like I mentioned as well, that you can wear casually, you can wear with a suit. I wear it with shorts, t-shirt, and flip-flops even, and it never feels out of place. So that's what sort of got me into it. And look, it's one of those things with the Cartier, like especially some of their quartz models. It's you don't buy a Cartier for the movement. It's not like it's got all this anti-magnetic, it's got all these different power reserves, etc. It's a watch that you buy more for the design. It's elegant, it's beautiful. There's so much different design language, iconic. To be honest, there's a lot of people hate on quartz, but for me, I don't really mind. It's one of those things. Look at it's a two-hand watch. Like you wouldn't even know it was a quartz.
No.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And you never have to set it.
You never have to set it. You don't have to change the date.
Yep.
So
I was out the other day and was having some drinks, and there was a guy, and he had a small tank on, and to me it just caught my eye like that. And I remember messaging these two saying, "There's a guy who's got a tank. What's he trying to do to you?" I was just that has to be my next watch. And do you find it as recognizable when you're wearing one? And does it make you feel special in a room that, like you say, a room full of hype watches or just very popular watches? Do you feel that the tank makes you feel a bit as basically it can hold its head high in any room because it's just a design icon and a historical icon?
Yep, I think it goes under the radar a lot more as well. It's people obviously recognize it, but I don't think it's not like one of those hype watches where everyone's like, wow, he's wearing a Rolex, etc. I think you can still be a bit under the radar, but still appreciate it. To be honest, I buy watches for myself. I don't buy them. They're not investments. They're my collection that I'll never part with. So for me, I do. I like having a piece of history on my wrist. I like wearing something that's elegant, that people recognize as Cartier. But to be honest, I wear it for myself. So even if, like I said, like it's not like people are out there. It's not like one of the hype watches that everyone's sort of aspiring to get. But there's the people that wear it. I think they wear it for their own reasons. They're not wearing it to impress anyone. So should I show you the next sort of tank that I acquired?
Yes, please.
Please,
wow, I'd love to see all of the watches.
Tank. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll show you the difference. So this is the blue tank
Oh,
must.
wow.
From
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Last year, 2021.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
classy.
last year's one shot. Cartier released 3 different colors. So there was their burgundy, there was the green, and then there's the blue. And
That's nice.
they discontinued the tank solo and brought this one in instead. As you can see, they've gone back to their roots. The tank must, which is this one here. And I don't know if you remember back in the 80s, the early 90s, even the tank must was quite a popular sort of watch. It was more of a cheaper sort of alternative. And I think Cartier had to sort of do something to compete with the quartz sort of crisis that was going on. And Cartier then brought out the tank must, and they released actually a lot of models in these different colors. So this is more of a throwback to what was.
Yeah.
What I like about this one is it's obviously you don't see these very often. They were quite hard to get. And I think they were a lot more popular than Cartier thought they would be last year. I think they raced off the shelves really quickly.
They did
so much
over list now. Yeah. So
people sell them as a collection.
Yeah, which is crazy. I know. I actually wish I got all the whole set, to be honest.
All free.
Yeah. But
do you like the black one as well this year? Do you like the black one?
Yeah, I was going to say
I do like the black one. It's now regular production as well, so you don't have to worry about sort of being allocated. The black one's nice. I don't know if I'm going to add another tank though, especially on stainless steel. I think I'm happy with the blue one. The blue, it's got the most amazing blue. It's hard to see in the light here. It's very hard to photograph, but it's an amazing piece. It's quartz as well, but I'll show you the Cartier Louis tank afterwards, but it's gone back to its roots.
Okay.
And then another one, which I think you guys spoke about on one of your other videos, is the Solar Beat.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Oh wow, you got very nice.
That's really hard to get as well.
Look, it is regular production. What made it so hard is I think they had a bit of production issues with the solar technology. It was quite hard to source a lot of the materials, especially during COVID. So production wasn't as quick as they thought. So I think there's a waiting list still at the moment. I think they're still dripping through trying to catch up to demand. What I love about the Solar Beat, it's obviously the first time, to my knowledge, that a luxury brand has incorporated solar into their sort of watches. Yes, solar technology has been around for years, but you don't really see luxury brands, especially like a dress watch, incorporating it. And the solar technology is great because you don't have to service this watch. They're saying for about 16 years. So the solar panels, I don't know if you know too much about it, but the solar panels are actually in the actual
indices, in the numbers.
It's a bit hard to see on
so
here,
cool.
but if you look at certain angles, you can actually see that the indices are a bit sunken.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you don't need much sun to charge it. So obviously I keep my my watches in a safe and they don't see the sunlight. You only really need to charge it for even maybe 30 minutes, and that thing lasts for at least a month.
Wow.
I've never gone to my safety deposit box and not seen it working. So it just keeps going and going.
Really cool, yeah.
So that the power reserve is amazing on it.
Wow.
How's the strap on that? Because it's made from apples or something, isn't it?
Yeah. So I actually changed the strap to
Okay.
One of the reasons I did that was it was made out of vegetable, like an apple, but the strap was very short. It was very short. It didn't actually fit me very well. I was on the last hole.
Wow, even though you've got a small wrist, as you said, it still didn't fit very well. Wow.
Yeah, it was very short. So, but look, it was very good. The material was very nice. But I did prefer the leather. So I put it on a grey. I don't know if you can see. There's the Cartier sort of dark matte grey, which I think it looks quite good on. And
is that a Cartier strap?
Yeah, it is. Yep. That's the official strap.
Okay. Because one worry I have is that I've heard even the large, it's because I've got a 7.2, just over 7-inch wrist, and that would be too much for the normal regular strap on a large. Is it possible to get the larger strap for a larger wrist?
You can custom make the straps. So if you speak to your Cartier boutique, you can go in there and order basically whatever you want. Obviously, you need to wait for it. It might be a few months, but I think the regular one will be okay. There's enough. Like this is just the regular size that you get when you purchase a Cartier tank. There's plenty of holes on there. don't think you'll have any issue. Like, I think I'm only on probably the second last hole with a 6.75 inch wrist.
Okay. Right. Oh, so that's fine then. Okay.
So you should be fine just with the basic stock one. So
excellent.
I want to share you one of my pride and joys. This is probably my favorite tank. This is the tank Louis Cartier.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my choices in the show. Actually, that was that is the icon. Yeah, the Louis Cartier.
This is the 100th anniversary edition from 2017.
Beautiful.
So obviously they paid tribute to obviously when they made it. Now, one of the things I like about this one is it's a manual wind movement. So it's a little bit more exclusive. It's got a nice guilloche dial, rose gold. It's got an actual the cabochon as well is a real sapphire, which
it's a real models, okay.
Yeah. So the quartz models are a manufactured sort of
synthetic
sapphire. Yeah. Synthetic, yeah. So this watch is very special to me. So it was actually the watch that I asked my now wife to marry me with, and then I wore it on our wedding day as well.
Oh wow! So it's a watch. Yeah.
A watch that has a lot of sentimental value behind it as well. It's probably my most worn watch too. It's a bit special.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah,
I agree.
So that was one of my grails, and I was so happy when I was able to purchase it last year.
Wow.
It's an amazing watch, that one, and I just can stare at it for ages. Like the guilloche dial, the whole silver sunburst behind the indices, and rose gold. Cartier make rose gold amazingly. Like you can't really tell. Like even in the light, it's hard to see on video, but it could easily pass for a yellow gold. So Cartier's rose gold has a really nice tone to it.
Yeah. Nice shine, real nice shine to it.
Yeah,
very nice shine.
That could be one and done, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're going, I reckon if you're going to buy a Cartier tank, go for the Louis Cartier. It's manual wind. It's precious metal. There's a lot more history. It's probably the top of the top when you talk about the tanks. They released a few new ones this year as well. I don't know if you saw the black. There's a Cartier tank, Louis Cartier, in black, similar to the tank must. So yellow gold with a black dial.
Oh, really?
Nice. Okay.
So have a look at that one. It's regular production as well. You might need to put your name on at the moment because there's a bit of demand, but you'd be able to buy it anytime. They've also released it's a one shot, so it might be a bit harder to get this year. It just came out in September. It's a Art Deco tank Louis Cartier. So there's a red one and there's a grey. And if you see a picture of it, they've got the basically the 4 Roman numerals and huge. It looks really nice. It's all engraved and etched, so at different angles, it looks different color.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to another piece, which is a little bit, you probably haven't seen this one too often. This is the tank Américaine. So
I like the Américaine, actually. It's nice and thin.
It's really cool.
It's still in the tank family. This one it's just a little bit bigger, I think. So it's a bit more elongated. This one's stainless steel, comes in automatic. What I like about this one is it wears a bit better on the wrist. Let me put it on and show you. The Tank Américaine was bought out quite recently. It's not that old, but it was inspired by the Tank Cintre, which is also an elongated watch, but it has more of a curvature to it. Whereas the Américaine is doesn't have the same curve, but it wears really nice on the wrist.
Is that the large or the medium? Which size one is that?
I've got the medium one, but it does come in small, medium, and large.
I like the medium size. Whoa. Yeah, and it's curved on the wrist, isn't it? It curves around the wrist.
Yeah, it just hugs the wrist.
So it's got a slight sort of curve on the lugs, but it's actually a lot more flatter than the Cintre. This one's one of my favorites as well. Being an automatic, the only thing that sometimes annoys me is it's got a second hand, which I like dress watches being two-hand only.
Just two-handers, right? Okay.
Yeah, but this is a beautiful watch. and it's one that you can wear in most different situations. So I wear it casually, I wear it with a suit, wear it out doing the shopping.
Yep.
Okay.
So
nice.
Yeah. So this one's available in a lot of different. Obviously, you can get it in gold. You can get it with different dials. There's ones with a date, one without a date. But I think the no date with the silver.
Yeah, just
sunburst.
Is that a blue strap as well? Is that right?
Yeah, this is like a navy blue.
Yeah, that's nice.
With a
beautiful
deployant clasp.
Deployant as well.
Wow.
Lovely.
So one thing I don't know if you guys knew, but Cartier actually invented the deployant clasp.
Didn't know that at all. Wow.
No.
So it was one of their inventions, and then obviously it caught on, and now a lot of other watch companies are making something similar.
Yeah.
What I like about this one, it doesn't have too much of the fold over, like you were talking about, I think in one of your recent videos.
Yeah, I think it was Swiss.
Yeah. So this is one of the newer designs, which I don't have a problem with the fold over. My Tortue actually came with one as well, but the newer design is a lot more practical.
Okay.
So that's my tank sort of collection. What I'm hoping to add in the future is I want to get a cinch tray. It's one of my favorites.
Yes.
It's got very popular lately. They brought out a Prive, I think it was 2018. That one went crazy. There was 3 different varieties. There was a rose gold with a black dial. There was a yellow gold with champagne, and then there was a platinum with like a silver dial. That cinch tray just hits really well. I've been lucky enough also to see some of my friends' special order cinch trays, and mate, they're amazing as well. So the cinch tray is one of my, let me say, more of an obtainable grail, but I think that might be the next one that I'd like to add to the collection. Cinch tray wears a little bit larger than the Américaine, but what I like about it, it's got more of a curve, so it actually hugs the wrist a lot better. So even on my my wrist, you're not going to notice it. It just hugs and it fits like a glove.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So the power of the tank, another tank in the collection then.
Power of the tank.
Yeah.
So moving away from the tank though, I'll go into more of a casual sort of sports watch, and it's the Santos.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I actually went with the medium. So the medium doesn't have a date, and it just fits a little bit better on my wrist. I like wearing small, classy sort of watches. So like the Santos, the large ones are just a little bit too big for me. This one fits really well.
That's perfect.
Stunning. Yeah.
So
beautiful.
the thing I like about the Santos, again, there's so much history. Like as they say, obviously Cartier invented the first wristwatch. Obviously designed a watch for Louis Cartier designed a watch for his friend, Mr. Santos Dumont, who obviously was flying planes, and he wanted a watch where he wanted a clock that he didn't have to pull out of his pocket. So he wanted something on his wrist so he wouldn't have to worry about getting off course. And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
So
where do you sit on that argument, right? Because I think that came up in the Spotlight show. But who was it, Cartier or was it Breguet who did the first?
Say they did as well.
Yeah, well, I'm biased, so I'm gonna go with the
Team Cartier.
Story.
Team Cartier, yeah, same here, yeah.
But you don't really hear too much. Like it's always Cartier that's spoken about. So to be honest, I didn't actually know that's the other story until your video. So I learned something. So I might have to do some research there actually.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah.
I think the Santos is probably one of the more common watches where a lot of people are starting to get into it as well. I think they've had a bit of a revival the last few years. They've become a lot more popular. I think in most stores it's quite hard to get the medium Santos as well. I think there's a wait list, or you might have to wait a few months. So it's starting to get a lot more popular. People are starting to recognize it for what it is. Look, it's an amazing everyday sort of sports watch that you can go from the beach straight into the corporate or into a party, into the ball. So it's such a versatile watch, and what I like about it is that you can change up the strap so quickly. You can take it off the bracelet, put it on the leather. They've got a quick release sort of system that works really well. I'm surprised a lot of other companies haven't actually started using that sort of system. I think Vacheron actually have something similar on their overseas.
Okay.
But it works really well. Like I think in your last video they showed you just press a button and the strap comes off and you can just change it.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, it makes sense. It's such an obvious thing.
Rather than the lever and
the spring bars, or fixed bars and that.
Yeah. It works quite well. I think there's a lot of different designs out with the Santos as well now. You can get different colors. There's different dials. I'm more of a traditionalist though, so I went for the traditional.
With classic, you can't go wrong with that.
Does the medium come with a leather strap as well?
It does. I don't have it with me here. It comes with
brown one?
It comes with a tan one, but you can actually swap it out. So I swapped it out for more of a navy blue.
I think that's a better choice, because I'm not a fan of that tan. Yeah, it's.
I wasn't a big fan of the tan. I think to me, I don't wear a lot of brown shoes and brown belts, so I think the navy blue went with my sort of outfits a lot better.
Yeah,
I do prefer it on the bracelet though. Like the bracelet is so comfortable. Like it does
look
nice.
It looks so cool.
It looks really cool. Yeah, if I remember correctly, it has a really easy way of changing the links, right, on the Cartier bracelets. It's like super easy to change links.
You basically just press these. There's a button here, button release, and it comes out.
Just
you can
pops
pull it
off
apart really quick. Yeah, you don't need any tools.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's. Again, I don't know why a lot of other brands haven't caught on. Like we want a lot of people change their straps, and some watches are so hard to change. Whereas Cartier Vacheron is another one. You have this simple system, and these watches are strap monsters, so that brands should make it easier to change. I hate changing straps on some watches because if you slip, you end up scratching the lugs, and that's a nightmare.
Correct.
Yeah.
So much so that I usually take my watches to the boutique and get them to change it. I just don't trust myself. So
Nick, what's your take on the Santos Dumont, the quartz version with the leather strap? Are you a fan?
So look, I do love the Dumont. I'd actually prefer to get the manual wind over the quartz. There's some new ones coming out soon. The lacquer dial. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a brand new one that is quite popular at the moment. There's 3 different ones. There's a gold, there's a stainless steel, and a platinum. That's in a large size, and it comes in a manual wind. It should be out, I think, in December. Very hard to get. I think you need to be on a waiting list to get one of them, but they're amazing. I would love to get a Dumont. I'm just waiting for, again, like a large size in the manual wind. At the moment, the only Dumont available in manual is in extra large, which is just a little bit big on my wrist. The Dumont big one. What I like about the Dumont, it's more, it goes back more to the design that was originally made when Louis Cartier designed the watch for his friend. So it goes back more to its heritage, whereas the Santos is more of the sportier style. More of a modern take of the.
It's classic yet modern. They've blended it perfectly, haven't they?
Perfectly, yeah.
I would love to add a Dumont. That's on my list. I would love to get a precious metal, like in a gold. I think yellow gold or rose gold will look nice. It's funny, once you go precious metal, it's hard to go back to stainless steel. I've sort of got that. I've got that bug at the moment, to be honest. It's just a different level, especially with Cartier with dress watches. So I think moving forward, most of my new additions, I think I'm going to have to go precious metal, stretch the budget a bit more.
Ooh. Yeah, they do. They jump in price, don't they, from steel to? I know, obviously, it's precious metal.
Oh yeah,
but there's a huge hike in the price.
It's significant.
You make that switch,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think most of the, especially the Prive models, and obviously the Prive is just another step. So like the CPCP, Cartier brought back the Prive edition, which every year they basically do a throwback to a piece from their history. So this year they brought out the Tank Chinois. They made it a bit more elongated. The Shank Chinois is designed with or inspired from more of the Chinese temples. So if you see a picture, you can sort of make it out. So that was this year. And next year, who knows? I'm waiting for March for Watch of Wonders and actually see what they release next year.
Yeah.
The Prives are something special, and yes, you do pay a premium for it, but they've got the better movements. They're precious metal. You've got manual wind and some of the best designs, and I love them. It's the Prive collection is something that I really want to get into. So I've got the Tortue obviously from the CPCP. Hopefully I can add a Cintre next.
Ooh, yeah.
So where does it stop for you, Nick? Where does it stop? Well, how many are you going to go? Are you going to go the whole collection, or is there a certain pivotal point where you go
in a dream? Full lot.
I think I need to ask the CFO, aka what the wife.
yeah, that's where it ends. I think.
It's a wise decision to make.
Yeah.
I know, but look, I think what I'd want to stick to now, I'm sort of more moving towards more of the Prive, more of the precious metals. I pretty much got most of the regular production collection now. Obviously, if something new comes out and I can't help myself, but I'm really looking now for more of those sort of special pieces, the Prives, the sort of 101s, the CPCP. Yeah. The crash is my grail.
Is next level. That's
just
Prive.
Yeah.
But to be honest, another one that I'm really loving at the moment is the cloche. I don't know if you've seen it. It looks like a belt.
Yes.
And
it's inverted kind of.
It's obviously a wristwatch, but you can use it as a bedside table watch as well. So you actually sit it up on the base. That would be one of my sort of next more obtainable grails, I would say, after the Cintre. I was able to look at or actually see one of my friends NSO or special order cloche recently, and it fit beautifully. It's amazing. That shape, it's something so unique and something special, and again something you don't see every day.
Only Cartier do that. We'll do something.
It's really cool.
Adventurous. There's a lot of adventurous. There's a lot of adventure with Cartier's designs. There's a lot of companies, they just stick to the same model, and they don't want to change it for fear of not getting customers. But Cartier, they break the barriers, don't they?
I don't understand, like, why do watches need to be round? Like every single brand, they all have round watches, whereas Cartier is one of the only brands I know that has so many different shapes. Like, yes, they've got their iconics, their tanks and their Santos, but there's so many other shapes out there. And if you have a look on the internet and do some research, there's some shapes you've never even seen before, and like it amazes me. I learn something new every day by going on the internet, looking at Instagram, watching YouTube. There's some shapes and models that I just never even knew even existed. So and that's what I mean, like, watches don't need to be, I shouldn't say this, but boring round shapes. Like,
no, you're right. 100%. It's an argument I raised is I think Cartier still has that imagination and romance with case design, and apart from Vacheron as well, I'd say, but many other brands have kind of lost it. They're very clinical, I'd say, these days, and a bit too scared to
safe.
Too safe. Perfect way of saying it.
Whereas I think Cartier, that they're not afraid to try something different. Like, and what I like about it is they're bringing back some of their historic pieces and putting a new modern twist on it. Like, for example, the chinois, this year is totally different to the previous chinois. A lot more elongated, wears a lot more larger on the wrist. So they're not afraid to go back into their archives and then bring something back, relaunch it, and obviously the newer generations are now getting right into that again. One thing I have to admit though, like, Cartier do round watches quite well as well. And I recently purchased a round Cartier. It's one I had to get. I had to have one round one in the collection. So this is one you don't see every day. It's the Ronde Louis Cartier. So this is the Louis Cartier edition. So it's manual wind. It's got the Breguet hands. It's hard to see here, but it's got a very grainy sort of ivory sort of dial.
Classic looking. It looks like an old clock, an old-fashioned clock. You know, it just
it does.
Real. They've really captured that.
So this is. I really wanted to add a round shape to the collection. And I think the Ronde is very underappreciated. Again, most people don't think of round watches when it comes to Cartier. So this one, not many people know of it. Not many people I don't see too many people wearing it. But I wanted to add it, and it was discontinued. It's actually discontinued, this version. They released it and brought out a new version, but I love this one a lot better. I love the Breguet hands, like those steel blue Breguet hands.
Yeah.
And what size is that? Sorry.
So that's a 36 millimeter.
Okay, perfect size.
It does look bigger. It does look bigger in the camera, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Short lugs, isn't it? I think. Is that what it is?
Very short lugs.
Yeah.
I'll put it on so you can see.
And
there is two different versions. So they do have a automatic version, and then this is the manual version. The automatic one has slightly different sort of dial, but I wanted to stick with tradition. So that's you can see the lug. Lug to lug.
Yeah.
Lug to lug's perfect.
Perfect.
It wears a little bit big because it is all dial. Like most dress watches, there's not much of it. It's basically all dial, but I think 36 suits me well. There was a smaller one. I think there's a 34 millimeter as well, which was a little bit smaller. But I fell in love with the 36.
Does it have a sapphire in the crown, the cabochon?
Yeah, it does as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the Louis Cartier editions. Obviously, are that next level up as well. So you can get cheaper versions of the Ronde. There's stainless steel, and there is other precious metals as well. What I love about the Ronde Louis Cartier is it's manual wind. It uses the same movement as a lot of the Prive collection as well.
Nice.
And yeah, it sits really well. It fits really nice under a suit as well, under the cuff. And again, it's a watch that I can wear casually or I can dress up quite easily.
So Nick, I've got one question about Collection Prive.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got an extensive collection there. Would you have to have bought, how many pieces would you have to have bought for a Cartier boutique to welcome you into that level of buyer?
One of the things I like about Cartier is it's not like Rolex or Patek or AP. So yes, obviously you need to build a relationship with the boutique, but it's not like you have to do bundle sales. You have to buy this piece here to get this one. If Cartier, if they can see that you are a true passionate collector, then they'll work with you. So let them know what you want. Let them know what you're aspiring to. Yes, obviously you do need to purchase through them and start building up some sort of purchase history. But like me, I got the blue tank must, and I didn't have a huge purchase history, and that was a waitlisted watch. I think what I love about Cartier as a brand is you get that proper service. Like you walk into the boutique and it's like catching up with your friends. They want to have time and sit down with you, talk about watches, show you the new releases, and it's a different experience than when you're going into some of the other big brands. Like I've walked into a Rolex before and pretty much had the door slammed on me saying that they've got no stock, nothing to sell.
We've all been through
that. And off I go. And this is one of the reasons that I went really straight into Cartier. It's not only because I love the watches, the designs, but it's the service that you get from their team. Like the boutique here in Malaysia and Singapore, like they know me. I walk in there, it's like I'm catching up with my friends. I'm going into the boutique. I'm not even buying anything, and I'm there, and they're happy to sit down and actually give you that service. And that's sort of what drawn me into Cartier as well. It's the whole experience, the whole buying experience.
It must be amazing in Malaysia because the service levels, I mean, from having been there, you just realize that they go the extra mile just to see you, just to talk and make you happy as a customer.
Yep. Like I said, though, like if I walk into a Rolex or AP, it's a lot different. So it's noticeably different. Yeah. So I think it's very similar around the world with those sort of brands. Whereas I think Cartier, yes, they're owned by a huge organization, but they still are true to that sort of family sort of roots. And look, I even recently went to New York recently, and I actually visited the Fifth Avenue boutique. And my sales assistant here in Malaysia actually organized me a tour there. I went into the New York boutique. I got met by one of their sales assistants. They took me for a tour of the whole building. I think I spent probably over an hour there.
Wow.
Got to see all the history. They took me around, showed me all the new renovations. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think that would happen with a lot of other brands.
No.
And I don't. It's not like I have a massive purchase history. Like there's people out there with a lot higher purchase histories than me. So yeah, going back to a question, I don't. Yes, having obviously a purchase history with a brand is important, but I think if you show that you're a true passionate collector and you want to grow and go on a journey with the boutique, then they're going to be happy to serve you. If you're just there chasing the hype pieces, you're looking for investments, as they say, then they're going to see straight through that.
Yeah.
And Cartier do, I don't know if you know too much, they do a lot of special sort of orders as well. So Cartier work with a lot of their collectors, and I think they're one of the only few brands that I know where you can actually design a watch that's unique to yourself with Cartier.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's brilliant.
So I don't know too many brands that still do that.
No.
Yeah. I think again going
not big brands anyway.
VC again. It seems to be VC and Cartier who are like that. Yeah.
You don't see too many special order VCs though. I don't see too many on Instagram. I don't see any on YouTube.
I think it's the big ballers, who get that maybe. But with Cartier, you're right. I actually know somebody here in Barcelona who's had a special order made. And he customized, like he designed it himself and sent the design to be approved by Cartier, and it was so. Yeah, there's not many brands, as you say, who would let you have that much control over a piece being made like that.
And some of the unique pieces I've seen on Instagram are amazing. Like you have got a lot of flexibility. You just got to make sure that your design is true to the Cartier sort of design language. Obviously, like you mentioned, you come up with a design, you sort of pitch it in a way, and then it gets sent off to Cartier headquarters, and then they've got to approve. And then you go through the whole period of waiting for your piece to be made, and then finally get it delivered to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Andy, have you had a chance to actually put this on your wrist, your friend's one?
Oh no, not yet. I think he's still waiting for the order. But I will do.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually meeting those guys on Thursday, so I'll get an update, to see what's happening. But I think it's going to be pretty incredible. Yeah, we'll do as soon as he receives it. Yeah.
So going back, I think for me, it's more about that relationship that I built with the boutique, and different boutiques. I go to different boutiques in every country that I visit, and to be honest, the service is the same. You get that same sort of level, no matter which boutique you visit.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so thanks.
Maybe just to summarize then, because I think we're approaching the hour. It's a question we asked on Spotlight, but how do you see Cartier? So if it's a nice question to ask, I think just to round it off, but what does Cartier mean to you when you think of that name and brand? What does that signify to yourself? Yeah.
Elegance, class, timeless beauty, and iconic. Like you can't get any more iconic than Cartier. That's obviously they invented the wristwatch. I'm just gonna go with that story.
I'll stick with it.
Yeah, Windows.
We support you. Yeah, we support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got over a century worth of history there. Like there's huge amounts of history. And yes, they don't only make watches, they are a jeweler as well. But I think a lot of people, I think Cartier is now starting to get the respect that it should have. Like watch collectors are now starting to see Cartier for a watch sort of brand rather than just being a fashion or a jewelry brand. I really love to see that. And like here in Malaysia, like we're starting to grow a really big Cartier community now, and we organized our first Cartier watch event with Cartier a few months ago. We had about 20 odd people there to view the new 2022 novelties, and it was an amazing day. There were people there who were just starting to get in, and they just purchased their first tank, or there was people there that are into vintage, and they've got a whole range of different collections. So it's starting to grow, and it's what makes it makes me happy. And I'm really happy that Cartier is starting to get more on the radar. And I think this year, with their new releases, it just took it to a different level. I know a lot of the Prive collection this year, a lot of the one shots, especially that Dumont lacquer. So if you get a chance, have a look at it. That's had so much demand, and Watch and Wonders this year, I think everyone was talking about Cartier. It's starting to get the traction. And even just look at the results, the sales results, was it for last year? I think Cartier were right in the top and beat some of the well-known.
I think they were
number two. I think,
yeah,
they were top two. Definitely beat Omega. I think it was Rolex, then Cartier, then Omega.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
It really tells you. Yeah. So now's the time, right? Yeah.
Now's the time.
Time is now.
Yeah.
So excellent.
I think what I'm going to say is like if you are interested in Cartier, start going to your boutique, start talking to the sales assistants, let them know you're passionate about collecting Cartier watches, and obviously let them know what your wish list is, and they'll work with you and they'll help to sort of take you on that journey.
Brilliant.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's been brilliant.
No worries, guys.
I want a Santos now.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, anyone watching here wants to know more about Cartier, just go onto Instagram, Cartier Watch Nerd. He's got loads of pictures there. He's got a load of information. He's the man, him and Ronnie M on Cartier.
Yep. So, guys, if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer as well. So just send me a DM, and more than happy to help you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or throw them in the comments on the video as well, please.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time, Nick. You got a wonderful, wonderful collection there. Thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
When you increase your collection, give us a shout, and we'll have you on again.
Yeah,
for another
part
two. Part two with the new watches you have. Absolutely, keep in touch with Andy.
Hopefully, I have some more Prive collection I can show you next time.
Oh, excellent!
Yes,
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So,
no worries,
thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Palm, once again. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for bringing in this wonderful guest. If you'd just like to stay in the room while you end the video there, Nick, thank you very much, everybody. We will see you again soon. Thank you.
See you on the next one.